G'day everyone, welcome to Footyology final siren post the big Richmond-Brisbane game. And I said Richmond first because they were the nominal home team playing unexpectedly or perhaps expectedly given the way this pandemic is going at Metricon Stadium against Brisbane, and a great win to the Tigers. Are they back in the hunt? Have Brisbane got the staggers? I guess they are the big questions out of this game. But we want your questions, and we are here to answer them, discuss this game, discuss everything going on in footy, which is a heap at the moment. Of course, a lot of fixturing, logistical issues that have to be dealt with, but a big weekend of footy ahead as the race for the final eight particularly really heats up. Richmond throwing a spanner in several teams' works tonight, I think, and perhaps just making a few other contenders a little bit anxious. Of course, more injury worries for the Tigers. Dusty Martin with what appears to be a rib injury. Don't know how serious that is yet. And Camden McIntosh with a hamstring. So they have had some year for injuries. Of course, Brisbane tonight, I think perhaps struggling under the weight of a few injuries they had too, with Eric Hipwood, of course, done for the season now. Marcus Adams in defence, Gardner, a few other players that they missed as well. So what impact's that going to have on them? Are Richmond back in the ball game as far as, possible premiership goes? I've got a few thoughts on that. I'm sure my co-host has too. As I say, very good evening to Mark Fine. What'd you make of the Tigers, Finey?
Oh, look, it was a win full of character, no question about it. Brisbane seemed spent of ideas and really ability to move the ball for much of that second half. They had a glimmer of hope late in the game after Zach Bailey goal. That was 2 goals in a row following McCluggage's. But really, Richmond had all the answers. They were the thrust and parry. Brisbane were the answers to the questions, and for the most part, after half-time, the answers were incorrect. I tell you what, we're running out of teams. Fremantle last night, they're out. They're gone through form and injury. So they're not going to make the 8. Brisbane tonight...
I didn't think they ever were, to be honest, but go on.
No, but they were in the 8 at the start of the round.
True.
Brisbane tonight, they can't win the flag. I mean, Hipwood is a huge loss. So's Marcus Adams. Hipwood's out, obviously, for a year. Marcus Adams is out till the finals at best. And they just don't cover their injuries, do they? The players that they've brought in are stopgap, honestly. So it falls to that hardworking midfield. What a difference Toby Nankervis made. Well, look, we'll talk all about that. But I'll say this much. You've got a lot of character in the Richmond Football Club. They pay a price tonight, and we'll find out probably in the next 48 hours how expensive that win was, re Dusty Martin. But Camden McIntosh is a heck of a cost as well, Rowan.
Yeah, true. What they really got tonight was some big performances from guys who they really needed them from. Mabior Chal, fantastic game from him. You'd have to say his best game of league footy. Of course, Jack Rewalt, got to talk about him, 6 goals in his 300th game. Absolutely superb performance. I thought Martin was pretty pivotal until he got injured. He started to make a difference. And as far as the team dynamic went, they really turned around the problems they had out of those centre square clearances, which Brisbane were pretty dominant in at one stage, but I think they might have ended up, Richmond ended up winning the centre bounce clearances 19-12. So just a real tide. And you're right, the arm wrestle analogy is right, I think, because it sort of went back and forth and back and forth. And I thought Richmond started really ominously, but Brisbane resisted them, and you thought, geez, someone's going to buckle here. And in the end, it was the Lions. So, look, I'm sure a lot of Richmond supporters are going to be jumping on, wanting to celebrate. And I can see Trout from Wood End is already joining us. So we'll take plenty from him. But Brisbane fans too, are you starting to worry about what your side can do this September? Is it going to be 3 final series in a row with no cigar? Get your questions in now, whether you are watching on Twitter or Facebook, and we'll do our best to go through them all. Whilst you're doing that, we're going to run through the details, starting with the quarter-by-quarter scores. And a really good opening term, this. It was sort of punch and counter-punch, really. The Tigers ending up with 4-2-26 at the first break, and Brisbane only 7 points behind, 3-1. Brisbane dominated the second quarter, probably could have led by a little bit more than a goal that they did lead by at halftime. 5 goals to the Tigers, 3 in the second term. So the Lions 6 points up at the major break. But then Richmond, great third quarter. They really dominated possession, took over in the middle. As you said, Finey, Toby Nankervis, pivotal for them. 5 goals in that third term to the Tigers, to 2 for Brisbane. That gave them an 11-point lead. And then the first 2 goals of that last quarter, absolutely critical. Tom Lynch with a free kick, and then a fantastic goal from Chol on the run from 50, if you don't mind. That was his 4th of the game, gave him a 4-goal lead. And then goal for goal from that moment on. Brisbane, as you say, did threaten briefly. Zach Bailey got him back within 13 points. There was still just under 6 minutes to play at that stage. But Richmond closed it out really well. Another good goal from Jack Graham to steady the momentum, and then capped off symbolically and suitably by Jack Riewoldt, who got, was it a free kick? I think I've written free kick there, and kicked his 6th of the game. Richmond, in the end, victors by 20 points, 16-10, 106, defeating Brisbane 13-8. 86, let's look at the goal kickers and your best, Finey. For the Tigers, 6 to Riewoldt, 4 to Chol, 2 to Lynch, 2 to Graham, singles to Martin and Bolton. For Brisbane, 3 to Danaher, 2 to McCarthy, 2 to McStay, 2 to Cameron, 2 to Bailey, singles to Robertson and McLuggage. Your best, you've gone with Jack in the milestone game as BOG, followed by Chol. Jaden Short, very prolific off halfback. Nankervis, terrific in the ruck for his first game back. Shea Bolton, back to some of his best form. Asbury as well in defence. I thought Grimes was pretty handy too, particularly in that first half. And for Brisbane, Mitch Robinson, that warrior for the Lions. Zorko, McLuggage, so plenty of midfield presence there. And Neil. And you've also gone with Payne and Lyons. So most of the Brisbane midfielders having pretty decent games, but still they have, in fact, they won a lot of the categories tonight, and yet still lost the game. So there's something interesting to consider there. Let's rip into some questions, starting with Trav Dutka, who says, Tigers can't win the flag, but neither can Brizzy. Not in Melbourne and without a top 4 finish. And got to say, Finey, I agree with that entirely. In fact, I thought that even before this game was moved, I tipped Richmond to win this game. I don't know if I would have been quite that bold if I didn't think it was at the MCG. But Brisbane definitely has an MCG problem. They've lost 17 of their last 19 games there and their last 9 straight. And the personnel, though, particularly, that's really going to hurt them, isn't it?
Yeah, and they can't afford many injuries. When you think how many Richmond have had and other teams, Brisbane have been fairly well served, certainly in recent years. Cam Rayner, the standout this year, but that double whammy, don't underplay the loss and importance of Marcus Adams. His recent form as an intercept, big man mark in the back line was sorely missed and was an entree to Jack Riewoldt's dominant game, Mabior Chol, and Lynch chimed in as well. I don't think they would have had quite the easy run that they had with Adams there. That being said, you've got to be able to replace these players. And I find that the replacements for the Lions, Tom Fullerton, did we see much of him tonight? Not really. So for mine, they just can't cover the losses. And the big concern above anything else is in these last 2 games, what a lame finish by Brisbane in the last quarter, really. A couple of goals when Richmond looked like they were really tiring, didn't they, with 6 or 7 minutes to go. Game on, and Richmond were just able to reassert themselves quite comfortably.
They did.
I find in both games, the St Kilda and Richmond game, Brisbane lacked that dynamism that has made them irresistible for 2.5 seasons. And I tell you, with 6 weeks to go before the finals, it's the wrong time to lose your mojo.
Well, I think I've talked about them being a bit more resilient this year, and it's almost like they've sacrificed a bit of that zip and flair for a bit more, sort of hardcore blue collar stuff. But you've got to strike the balance, and you'd have to say the way they finished tonight and last week, even the resilience has been down a bit. I just wonder how much those injuries, particularly that of Hipwood, have just sapped morale a little bit. It's certainly raised some issues about their depth, but we'll talk about that in various stages throughout the show. Grant King says the new rules, lazy intercept defenders, the ruckman the opposite, so influential. Well, Nankervis clearly is a huge barometer for Richmond. In fact, in terms of structural importance, it's been really underlined in his absence. He is just crucial. It's not even really about the hit-outs. It's about his presence around the ground. Gee, for a guy that looks big and slow, he covers a fair bit of territory and he wins clearances and he just throws his body around, and he's a massive asset for them, and you could really see the difference he made, couldn't you?
A huge difference. Rowan, why is there a line across the centre circle of the ground?
Is that a serious question? Or
yeah?
Well, they're not allowed to. The ruckmen have to stay on their side of the line.
Yeah. So when the ball is bounced, Nankervis races to the other side, really circumventing that law. By the time they square off for the hit out, they are wrestling on McInerney's side every time. Brilliant by Nankervis. Because he's not tall enough just to jump, he would get soundly beaten in a tip-off, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But I'm not quite sure that that's what the AFL intended. And every time the ball, even when it's thrown up, as soon as it leaves the umpire's hand, he races across the other side of the line.
Can I just say, it's a good point. I'd love to know what the Tigers did. I would have loved to have been in that midfield group meeting at halftime, because the way the centre bounce stuff turned around, it was something to do with positioning, and you're not privy to it on the TV. The commentators aren't even privy to it because we don't know exactly what they've done. But here's the extent of a turnaround. At halftime, the centre bounce clearances were 6 Richmond, 11 Brisbane. They've finished up tonight 19 to the Tigers and 12 to Brisbane. So in the second half, 13 to 1, the centre bounce clearances Richmond's way. That has to be about positioning, because I didn't actually, just give me a sec, I'm going to go white here, but I just want to check the hit-outs, and they were 37 each. So it's not like Richmond ended up being supreme in the hit-outs, but they certainly were in terms of the clearances. So that is as profound a turnaround in that area of the game as I've seen for a long time. All right, let's keep going. We want to try to be zippier and get through more of these questions. Trout from Woodend, very happy, no doubt, says 12 of our best 22 injured and we got over the line. Very happy tonight. He goes on to say, every bloody week the AFL tell the umpires to over-umpire one rule, and this week it's the dangerous tackle. It's so frustrating as a footy lover. We should talk about this, Finey. 5 of them paid tonight. I thought the last one, which was paid to McLuggage, was just a simple in the back.
In the back.
What's wrong with in the back? And there was an earlier one, I think the third one paid, where holding the ball was paid against the Brisbane player, and then the non-controlling umpire paid the dangerous tackle. Now
to Castagna. Yeah.
No, the free kick went to Brisbane in the end. The holding the ball was paid to, or maybe I did get it the wrong way around. Sorry.
Holding the ball was Brisbane, and then they gave it to Richmond for a dangerous tackle.
I think you're right. You're right. It was Castagna. But the whole thing about the non-controlling umpire paying that dangerous tackle, I don't know. I reckon if you're going to pay something like that isn't one of the more obvious free kicks, you shouldn't be able to pay that as a non-controlling umpire. I reckon the officiating umpire closer to it has seen the action a lot closer than the non-controlling umpire. The non-controlling umpire chips in if the controlling umpire is unsighted in that particular example.
Yes.
That could not have been the case with the guy ruling that it was holding the ball and it wasn't a dangerous tackle.
How presumptuous of the non-controlling umpire to overrule a decision not based on vantage point, as you said, but based on opinion.
Yeah,
I'd be having stern words in the umpire's room to the upstart that overruled me, other than if I was unsighted. I just want to correct Trout. It's not an AFL-driven dynamic, This was an absolute case in point of umpires' hands being forced by a single decision, and that's setting the bar for the rest of the night. And the first decision was this one that nobody really saw, was a dangerous tackle free kick to Danaher against Toby Nankervis in the second quarter. And then they ran like tap water because the umpires then feel that a sort of a bar has been set, or we have basically our parameters for dangerous tackles. And virtually every time a player was brought to the ground, it was deemed a dangerous tackle. I thought maybe the fourth one, it was out near the boundary, could have been a dangerous tackle. The first three were laughable.
Well, I thought, we talked about the third one, I think.
Yep, yes.
I thought the one that was paid quite close to goal, Richmond attacking, I'm pretty sure it was against Shea Bolton for a danger. The free kick was against him. I thought that was appalling because he didn't, look, a dangerous tackle should be a sling. He took the guy to ground. There wasn't an extra sort of, bit of momentum which drove the player physically into the ground. He just tackled him hard. It was all in the one continuous movement. And because the guy ends up hitting, I think he did end up hitting his head at the same time as his chest, he gets pinged for it. Now, if you were going to pay those, I understand that we've got to protect our players. I'm not trying to be overly macho about it, but if you cannot apply a heavy tackle because you're worried about the velocity at which the guy's body is going to hit the ground, that means that you've basically got to sort of put him down on the ground, and we can't let it get to that stage.
Awesome. Brian Taylor got it right tonight. I know you're not going to like that, Rowan, but BT got it spot on. He said, by definition, a tackle is dangerous. I mean, man, the word tackle, somebody tackling somebody, there has to be some element of force and of impact to the player. It's whether or not we've deemed it dangerous if there's a stop, pause, whipping motion into the ground. Yeah. None of those qualified. None of them.
And that's where I would have thought, when the sling tackle started to become an issue, and we're probably talking 5-6 years ago, they were obviously defined from a regulation tackle, weren't they? They were when a guy had the arms pinned and drove him into the turf. I remember the Brian Gibbs one against Port Adelaide at the MCG. I don't know why I remember that one, but that was a good example.
I remember one 15 years ago. It was the first time I thought this is super dangerous. Remember before then, we played on outdoor grounds that were generally soft and muddy.
Yeah.
So it wasn't dangerous to throw somebody into the soft mud, but Aaron Hamill did it to somebody on the wing at the Colonial Stadium or whatever it then was, and he nearly killed them.
My point here, though, is that I don't think any of these tackles tonight consisted of a guy pulling down a bloke so that he forcefully hit the ground.
Yeah, I think everybody knows that. It got out of control tonight. Look, it's easy to sit back. It's easy to sit back and say that the umpires got that wrong, in a series of umpiring calls. But when you're out there and you're umpiring, to be fair, having done it, you are in a sort of a cocoon, and you're making decisions. You're trying to keep consistent. So you sort of say, hang on, if umpire A paid that one to Danaher, I'm obligated to pay this one now to player X, and maybe it's easier to sit back and say none of them were, etc. And I'm sure they'll be counselled on that. But being fair to the umpires, at least you can say that not one team wasn't totally stymied or hamstrung by these decisions. They went sort of to and fro, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. All right, let's move on. David Haley says Richmond won't win the flag. Geelong are a danger after last night. I think pun intended. Danaher is overrated. I don't know. I mean, Danaher's been averaging, I think, 2 goals per game. I mean, put it this way, if Brisbane are going to do anything in the finals, he's going to have to play well. They won't be able to do it without him playing well. Now there is no Hipwood. Absolutely not. So
I thought he was disappointing tonight, Ron. He needed to present more. He needed to say, come, remember there was times at Essendon, he saw the moment and seized it. Now, he's obviously not that player anymore, but he needed to work harder down the field. I thought he was really disappointing, and I cannot believe how terrible a game Oscar McInerney played. He started off okay, and then he just started wrestling with Nankervis. How many times? About 3 times in the ruck, he just grabbed him around the neck. McInerney should have had a much bigger say in that game. I thought they were both uber disappointing.
All right, we're going to play that game again, Finey, where we just give sort of one-word answers to a whole list of comments because they are banking up. Craig Aaron says, get it over and done with. Rule of the week, dangerous tackle. How do we send the AFL? Please explain. It'll certainly be a talking point. Craig Gislingham, how much a difference does Nank make to the hardness around the footy? Was fabulous, made Chol tonight. Well, that's a good point, isn't it? That
one word.
Flexibility. Chol plays forward because of Nankervis.
Thank Nank.
Okay, that's good. You can do that. You can play that game. All right. Simon Fazio says Brisbane really missed the barometer.
You can play him if you want.
Was he dropped or is he injured?
Yeah, he's the same person as Lockie Neal. He only plays when Lockie pulls out.
Trav again says, is 6 goals a first, your 300 a record? I think.
Yeah, I wonder if anybody else gets 6 in their 300.
I did very much doubt it. Well, how many?
Well, not. Hang on, we've had some. How many did Lockett? Did Lockett get to 300? No. No.
All right. Well, someone can look that up and let us know.
Gordon Coventry, I think, played 300 roughly. Anyhow,
all right. Someone look that up. We'll get back to it. Trout again. We're going to have it might be a 6-comment limit for you, Trout. Rioli just getting better at halfback, and that Stackman going well as well. Backline hanging in. Yeah, fair comment. Rioli, I thought, was pretty good tonight. Stack is starting to improve.
1 word. Or 2 words.
Go on.
Also Mansell.
All right. Good.
I thought he was
we might keep this format. I think it works well.
You saying a lot and me saying little?
Pretty much, yeah. Matt Campbell says, Finey, not good for the Saints tonight.
Why not?
Well, I think he means Richmond
are
now.
St Kilda run their own game. Don't worry about that. They've got to keep winning St Kilda. Essendon will gallop past them, and so will Richmond if St Kilda don't win 5 out of 6.
All right, Digby Norton, Aaron's brother, says, great game, go Tigers. Few things. Do you think Rioli's good in the back line? Yeah, I do.
Yep.
Sorry, I can't do the 2-word thing. Clean disposal. You got 2 words, or you don't have to double up?
More involvement.
All right, Mark Jep says, Nank is a tackling machine. Yeah. Yes. All right, Evan B says, without Nank, Tigers don't make the finals. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Ignatius Jones.
Can I ask you a question, Robin? Is he more important than Dustin Martin in that team?
No, you can't. Okay. It's tempting to sort of get carried away with that. You know, it's a Kane Cornsism, isn't it? I think. I'm just trying to think of how they do it. Kane Corns would say, I think Braden Ham is the most important player in that Essendon lineup. Nankervis is a really good player and he's important. He's not as important as Dusty Martin. But then, tonight's a tribute to Richmond being able to do it without Martin in the critical part of the game.
Yep.
Andrew Mock says Dusty did a sweeper role and started hitting forward. He, I reckon I had him down for at least 3 goal assists. I might just.
It was big in the third quarter.
Yeah, I might just check the stats. Anthony Wellham, who's obviously from South Australia, says the old Rick Davies check side small ruckman. Jumbo, the Jumbo Prince, wasn't he?
Jambo.
Wasn't he the Jumbo Prince?
Jambo.
Rich Davey. G'day, Rich. How are you? I know they did well without him, but assuming Dusty's out for 2 to 4 weeks, who steps up to keep their momentum? Well, are we assuming the skipper is now no longer capable of stepping up, Finey?
Yeah, no, he's...
You reckon we can never see Cochin play as good a game as he played even last year?
No, I don't think we can. He's still in the team and he tackled hard and he was an on-ball, he was a physical presence, but no. He when he started his career, Rowan, the slight knock on him was he didn't have that breakaway speed to, be a sort of damaging midfielder. But as he grew into the role, he became so physical, powerful, that his strength became an issue. And I think we're now back to that, as you get older, that sort of diminished strength as well, just to break clear. So he throws it on the boot a bit, handballs a bit. But no, he's not going to be the one.
I don't know if we should assume Dusty's going to be out for 2 to 4 weeks either. I mean, look, if anyone hears a report, obviously we're doing this.
You think it was ribs, do you?
Update us. But it's possible to only miss one game with ribs. Depends.
Was it ribs for sure?
Well, not for sure, but...
Could be a hip flexor?
It could be a hip flexor. What's a hip flexor worth?
They are super painful, apparently.
Yeah.
I mean, they can really... Look, he is so courageous. You saw him try to run it off. If he's grimacing to walk an upper step.
Well, there's no point speculating, is there? Let's find out what it is. So, Dr. Peter Larkins, if you are tuning in, feel free to get in touch. Or if anyone's heard an update, just let us know.
Yeah. And Dion Prestia, look, the problem is they keep rushing Prestia back 1 or 2 weeks too early, and he breaks down. So he's a bit of an issue all season. I thought Lambert was good early. Maybe
to answer the question, how do we replace Martin? 3 words: Bolton, Lambert, Prestia.
Yeah, and Prestia, big question mark. So at least Bolton and Lambert are locked away. He looked good, Lambert. He'll be better for the run.
I'll tell you what. I think it was David Haley said Richmond won't win the flag. Our producer Damon's putting his hand up. Ribs. So Ribs are Dusty. He's off to hospital to have scans. Apparently, John Ralph could reveal that on Fox Footy. I'm just taking the piss there because Ralph is
what the
complete a
problem
sentence
is,
without saying that he's revealing something. You missed my dig.
All right, there's a huge problem here. Serious issue.
What?
I'm not kidding.
Okay, what?
If you do have lung damage,
you
with
can't
a broken rib, you can't fly.
Yeah.
How's he going to drive home when you can't go through New South Wales? She's going to be a long bloody drive.
You can get exemptions. I mean,
Really?
Geelong needed an exemption when they arrived in Perth last night.
Yeah, but through New South Wales? Oh, I guess you just put removalist on the side of your car.
Very good. All right. Harper Pessinger, good friend of the show, says 4 points between 7th and 12th at the end of round 17. Haven't seen that since 1997. Gripping finals race. All right, let's quick exercise. I want one answer, and it's the name of a team, Finey.
Yep.
Of the sides, before the start of this round, right, you had Freo 7th, West Coast 8th, St Kilda 9th, I think Essendon 10th. Oh, God, who was 11th?
GWS was 10th.
Oh, sorry, GWS, Essendon, Richmond.
Yep.
Who is if I think no, let's say there's 2 spots up for grabs. Who are your bottom 2 finalists from that group? 2 names.
I said Essendon, West Coast.
Okay. I'm saying St Kilda and Richmond. Why is that funny?
Because they're 2 different teams. That's 4 teams out of the 6. It's funny.
What do you mean?
That's funny that we went for 2 completely different teams. I thought we would have had.
Well, I think St Kilda's form's probably the best of that group right now.
Hard run. They've got to play Geelong at Geelong.
That's true.
Sydney at Marvel, and Sydney played brilliantly at Marvel. Not to mention West Coast in Perth, in a game that, have you heard what St Kilda has to do?
Win some tough games.
Well, it's straight after the Port game. They're flying to Perth, and they've got to do what Collingwood did. They can't leave the hotel for 6 days. I know Collingwood did it, but that's tough.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wrote a column on Tuesday about how, this was a Victorian team's flag to lose because it was the non-Victorian teams that would have all the difficulty. And now it's all changed again. So, who knows where that's going to end up. I mean, we can't really second guess. All right, let's keep going. Yep. So who are your 2 teams against? Sorry.
West Coast and Essendon.
Yeah, okay. All right. I'd have Essendon third best because their draw is pretty handy.
Yeah.
All right. Lindsay Blake has joined us.
And by the way, that was before the round. This Richmond win, I would now say Essendon and Richmond.
Okay. Lindsay Blake says, Finey, you look nothing like I thought you would. Bald and about 75 years old. You look good, champ. Just I don't know about that, Lindsay. That's just got backhanded compliment written all over it. Plus, you've champed him. In the modern vernacular, champing is the equivalent to calling someone the C word, I reckon. Like, someone champs me on Twitter, I just go completely feral. Do you don't mind being champed?
No, not really.
Oh.
I don't like being.
You're not on social media.
I am so. Just that I'm not on it in a combative manner as you are. I just put nice things and interesting things up there and let the wind blow.
That's not what it's for. It's for slagging people off.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it really, Rowan? Is it really?
It is.
Can't we make the world a nicer place?
Well, apparently not.
You put the twat in Twitter, and there isn't even a twat in Twitter.
I'm not a twat on Twitter.
But you stop using it to be angry. Be nice.
Well, there's a lot to be angry about.
As Maxwell Smart said, it's nice to be nice to the nice.
Yeah, right. Well, you're not exactly Mr. Nice Guy yourself. All right, let's keep going.
I had a greyhound called Mr. Nice Guy once. It was I named it as a piss take of my own take on life.
Oh, good. How did it go?
It won a staying race at Warragul, and after it won, the trainer said, that's probably the worst win I've ever been involved with. Sell it. So it's over.
All right. Bo Kelly says, has Jack Graham taken over Cochin's role? I was watching Cochin closely for most of the game. Look, I'll be totally honest. Does Cochin have a specific role that's any different to a Lambert or a Martin, or Martin, yes, but Lambert or a Bolton, or I couldn't tell you that just from watching on TV.
I imagine he's not required to spread as much as they do.
You mentioned Imagine, actually. I'll just very quickly, great piece on
I read Francis Leach's.
Well, let me tell the audience, good piece on Footyology today from Francis Leach. It is the 50th birthday this year of John Lennon's Imagine. And if you're looking for a tribute from Frank, you're not going to get it because he paid out big time on it. He said it's the most overplayed and overrated song in music history, which is a big call.
Yeah, because it started a discussion at my place today.
Well, I was never a big fan, but it's a funny piece, so check it out. Another really good music piece this week too by Ian Wilson, who in fact is a former VFA Premiership player, about his trip to the Narara Music Festival in New South Wales in 1984 and his copious consumption of a certain green weedy substance. So that one's quite funny. Let's keep going. I'm getting distracted.
I've got just, when you've got a moment, I've got two big black marks, big crosses from tonight's game.
All right, we'll get to them. Let's just scroll through because we're really banking up here. And I know I keep going on about it, but the object of this show is to get to your questions. Leroy Jones, look at Danaher's second effort, say non-existent, no desperation whatsoever. 2 words, Finey.
Here.
Okay. And that's H-E-A-R. I hate it when people write H-E-R-E. Robert Forbes, Joe Danaher couldn't stand in Jack Riewold's shadow. He never imposes himself on a game. Glad he's gone. Good riddance. Robert, obviously an Essendon supporter. James Tyrrell, tuning in from South Korea. Evening, lads. Evening, James. Hope you've had some beef bulgogi, some kimchi. I love Korean food. Do you like Korean food, Finey?
Very much so. I love the
side dishes.
I look, it's great. You go to a Korean restaurant.
They're the best part. And
you can leave with that. We have a full meal and not pay.
I've done that.
I've got to go. I've got to leave.
I've just done that.
All the pickles
I've just ordered the side dishes and made that at dinner. They're beautiful.
I love the rice bibimbap that, it sticks to the bottom of the stone dish and it gets crispy. I love it.
Don't like the way the kimchi is like really hot, but it's so nourish. You just keep going back for it.
Why don't you make your own kimchi? My daughter loves pickled cabbage and stuff and attempted to make it.
Yeah,
Let's just say we buried something in the backyard of a previous house, and I hope the new owners never have the misfortune of digging it up.
Actually, David made dinner for us tonight. It was a momentous occasion. Neither of us are great cooks, but he made hamburgers, admittedly, but they were pretty good. All right, let's get on with it. Jack Dyer kicked 6 in his 300th, says Wild Panda. Geez, I wouldn't have tipped that. Craig Platt. G'day, Craig. Craig's a very senior travel writer at the age and one of the veterans of the place now. In fact, he's probably the only one. In fact, Craig started as a cadet last century. Anyway, sorry, I'm not trying to say you're old, Craig, but Craig's a dedicated Richmond fan, so good on you, Craig. Let's keep going. It was the Jumbo Prince, Rick Davies. Austin Phillips says Brisbane don't have enough leg speed. Tigers made them look slow. Can I just say quickly, the one thing Richmond got back tonight, which has been sadly lacking, was that frenetic moving forward of the ball at any cost and by any means. The taps and the knock-ons.
Yeah, the handball over the head. Just keep it going, keep it going.
That's been conspicuously missing, hasn't it?
Yeah. The thing that Richmond did, which has been done to them in recent weeks, is they had a player that kicked behind the ball. So when Brisbane were trying to get it out of the back line down the wings, it was every time Richmond had the right players there. And again, Nankervis plays a big role in that. So did, you were correct, Grimes and Asprey to a point. They had that stolen off them. Moving the ball usually is very hard against Richmond. They just lost that they lost it in the last quarter against Collingwood. I watched that again yesterday. That was quite extraordinarily non-Richmond. So plenty to work on for Hardwick, and didn't the players respond well?
Stuart Broadbent says Caro would attract more viewers than us, Stuart. I guess she would.
What do you mean Caro would attract more viewers?
I don't know.
If she was on, but she's not on. I'm not even sure that she watched the game, mate. So why would you say rubbish like that?
She won't be coming on.
But she's not on. She's not doing a podcast now. We're the ones bothering to entertain and talk about the game and watch it in full. Give us some credit. We're not making up bullshit about what happened to Damien Hardwick pre-season and trying to squeeze that like a square peg in a round hole to fill her own dialogue, to make her own story, create her own narrative. You don't need to watch football to do that, mate. Piss off. Piss off. Go read a Caro article, you wanker.
Okay, he is joking, Stuart. Stuart's a dedicated viewer of this show, and I think he just wanted to get a rise probably out of me, and he got one out of you.
I'm disgusted with Caroline Wilson.
Yeah, I know. Well, I gathered that, but save it for the podcast, Finey. Don't fire all your bullets now. Matthew Price reminds us that Dermy missed 1 week with broken ribs and then kicked 11 goals with an inflatable vest under his jumper. I do remember that. Because about 1991. Phrase says Dusty hasn't been impacting like he does. The rest might do him good. I thought he started to tonight. I thought that was getting back to the Dusty we know and love. Jack asks, what's the best book in your bookshelf, RoCo? I'll tell you what, it's nearly all non-fiction. In fact, I proofread a book for someone. I won't tell you who because it's a really good read, but I really struggle to read fiction. I'm not sure why. It's sort of, I don't know, anytime I read a book, and look, I don't read many books. It's not because I don't like reading. I spend all day reading, but I think that's why it prevents me reading books. But I've got a whole pile of them here. I've got this one, which I'm going to read soon. It's about Melbourne's last flag in 1964. And I've got this one I've got to read as well, about the Fitzroy, the merger story with North Melbourne, 1996. So a big variety in my reading, obviously.
I don't trust bookshelves full of books.
Well, mine's mostly full of DVDs, to be honest. But if you had a look there, 90% of it are sporting books. So I'll have a look and I'll get back to you.
Because you know why I don't trust them?
Why?
Well, at IKEA, the bookshelves are full of books, but they're all Swedish books and they're all the same book generally. You know, they just buy millions of these rejected books from Sweden. And then I went to a place, you know, my wife's got family in New York, and there's this great place in New York to take the kids. It's a sort of a theme restaurant called Frankenstein's something or other. But all the books on the bookshelf there, they're the spines of the book, but they're not actually the book. They're just the spines stuck against the wall.
Oh, just for show. It's like the line out of Beautiful People by Australian Crawl. The garden's full of furniture, the house is full of plants. It's a good line, that. Wild Panda says, g'day from Singapore. G'day, Panda.
Have chili crab for us.
All right. Now, before we go vaudeville, we've got some more stuff to get through here. But James says he actually did have bulgogi and kimchi and banchan, which is Korean for side dish. Well done, James. Never order Boshington. Woof, woof.
What's Boshington?
Well, clearly dog.
Ooh.
Chris Kenny would like that. Digby says, I wasn't sure, but the Channel 7 commentary didn't seem to be calling Sydney Stack's name at all tonight. Is that a coincidence? Not following that.
Right.
No, you might have to explain that one, Digby. Sorry. Eddie Betts.
Wasn't there a great kick by Sydney Stack? That one just into the top of the goal square that was marked by Shea Bolton. Shea Bolton.
Oh, yeah. No, that was. That was
great
good.
Kick in the third quarter.
Eddie Betts kicked 6 in his 300th, apparently. Clinton Moore loves the Korean food chat. He's tuning in from Bangkok. And g'day to Damon too, says Clinton. Say g'day, Damon. Can you actually can you get on mic, Damon, or not? Damon's best mate just moved over to Thailand. G'day, Clinton. We got half of Asia tuning in.
Do you like Thai food, Rowan?
I do. I like all food. There's no cuisine that I don't like.
Favourite Thai dish?
Probably a toss-up between pad Thai and Thai beef salad.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Is that all right?
Yeah, pretty pedestrian, but that's good. You go for it.
Get stuffed.
I like the som tum, the papaya salad.
Dimitri loves you, Finey, I think, for your outburst about Caro. Robert thought I was the feral one. We're both capable of being. We're both enigmas trapped in a riddle, trapped in a something or other.
A body too large.
We cannot be categorised, Robert. I think it's fair to say, both Finey and myself. I mean, we like to think we have some sort of intellect. I'm sorry if it makes us sound like wankers, but, we know stuff. We don't have particular airs or graces. We're not complete bogans. I'm probably more prone to boganish behaviour at times. Anyway.
Rowan's political. I'm not political. Rowan's very socially conscious. I do understand what's right. I do have a social conscience, but Rowan is very active in that field.
You are becoming more political, Finey. You don't even realise it, but you are.
And by osmosis.
Well, maybe, or maybe what's going on in the world. I mean, anyway, no, we won't talk about politics because it'll upset someone.
I will say this.
Daniel
Andrews, I thought he said something excellent this week. I'm not a huge Daniel Andrews fan.
Yeah.
But I just want to say he said something really good.
What?
He was talking about the fact that Scott Morrison, has decided that there would be a $600 payment to wage earners who were unable to work during lockdown, but it only kicked in 7 days.
Yeah.
After 7 days of lockdown. And Andrew is responding to a question from the media, I think, at a press conference, made it very clear. He said, I am not altering the length of our lockdown from 5 to 7 days to accommodate the Prime Minister's minimum entry level. People are losing money from day one. It's on his conscience. He needs to dole the money out fairly. I'm not extending our lockdown 1 minute longer than it has to. It may be extended longer, but I'm not doing it to qualify for what he thinks is fair, because it's not fair. And he said it really well.
All right, good. That is the final political comment on this show. All right, going to rip through some more. Adam, now Finey, this is serious. Adam says he's watching with his kids and he doesn't appreciate your swearing.
What swearing?
I don't know, I can't remember, but clearly you swore at some stage.
I know what I said. Caroline Wilson. I won't say that again. By the way, I do apologise, and that's great that we've got a range of ages watching. I'm now conscious of it. I'm not taking that lightly. I'm not going to be glib. I apologise for that. I won't swear.
All right. Dimitri Burandanis says Danaher is so lazy. As a Dons fan, I'm stoked we're playing Harry over him, Harry Jones. Wild Panda likes the black pepper crab.
With a butter sauce, black pepper butter.
Okay, we're actually getting to the end of these questions. Send some more through, folks. Digby's got a few here. Seems to have been slandered by the media all year. I'm not sure who you're talking about, Digby. Sorry.
Hardwick?
No, we didn't. It's about someone we were talking about. Wondering if they're not paying attention to him. I don't know. It seemed intentional. Oh, Sydney Stack. Yeah. Actually, Mark Robinson, I don't watch AFL 360, but I did see a clip where Mark Robinson really cracked it about the fact that, our furniture removal friends are sort of getting off relatively lightly, and Sydney Stack did 3 or 4 weeks in jail.
Yeah, not specifically though. I followed that whole thing. He called it a national disgrace that Sydney Stack was sent to jail when there was a party.
They singled out WA.
Yeah, there was a party for some well-heeled buffoons had a party on a yacht somewhere and were fined $4,000 each.
Well, that's been happening. It happened again. Yeah, the yacht that went to Queensland. What about those 2 girls last year ended up on the front page of the Courier Mail and got death threats for? Yeah, I mean, don't. Yeah, no, let's not. We're getting. Let's not get political tonight. Dan Fancher misses Stephen J. Peake.
So do I.
Well, give him a phone call, but he's not coming on this show.
He's very funny. You know why he's funny?
No, I like Stephen J. Peake, but he's just not coming on this show.
Yeah, well, we don't have anybody on the show but us. But you know why he's funny?
Because he's mad?
Yeah, because he actually believes a lot of what he says. It's not, some people put it on. I can't believe Kane Corns, for example, believes half the crap that he comes out with, but he's just being inflammatory for the sake of it.
Yeah.
But the great thing about Peaky is he truly believes it, which means you can have a long attack on him and he just won't back down on some of the most outrageous stuff you've ever heard. It's very funny.
All right. Jack says Bombers missed a durable star in McLuggage selecting McGrath first. Yeah, look, I'm not that debate. Well, first of all, it doesn't have to be a debate because they're both really good players. Secondly, it's a very inexact science. You don't know how players are going to develop. I would say the gap between McLuggage and McGrath isn't great. McLuggage is probably a bit ahead, but McGrath's been a pretty bloody good player for Essendon.
McGrath was number one pick, wasn't he?
Yeah.
That would have been a very courageous number one pick, McLuggage. I know he was rated, but not number one.
I'm trying to remember what pick he was in the end.
5 or 6 or something, wasn't he?
Oh, someone will tell us. I don't have it handy. Suds McDuff says, who are the players Finey is pick 3? Okay.
Yep.
Who are the players Finey has put an X through? Where at, Suds? You talking about Brisbane or?
What was the question?
Well, who are the players you've put an X through? But we've got to find out which club he's talking about. So Suds can get back to us on that. Dimitri says, has commentary on Channel 7 ever been worse? So hard to listen to, especially Friday nights. I'll tell you one thing I'm noticing. Look, it didn't rile me as much tonight as it has other weeks. I think Daisy's getting more, I think they're more conscious now of actually letting Daisy get a word in. Again, I thought her special comments were on point and interesting. And they've had this terrible thing where she'll make a comment and they don't sort of respond to it. And I think someone's had a word to them about that because
they worked it better. But
she's good. Like, she's genuinely good. Like, she makes what you need as a TV special comments person, as a viewer, what you want from a special comments person is to see structurally and tactically what you can't see because you're watching it on TV. And too many of them, they either don't do that at all and just repeat what you can see, or they're trying to impress their mates by putting it in this sort of filling it with jargon all the time. And I think she quite deliberately doesn't do that. So, good on her. And I think that's why I rate Jason Dunstall too. I think he puts complex stuff in easy to understand language.
Okay, I think a bit of a problem tonight was, I got a feeling that they told Daisy to take a prominent role and Wayne Carey to take a bit of a back seat, which is fine.
He wasn't there, was he? Wasn't it Luke Hodge? Was
Luke Hodge was at the ground.
Yeah.
The others are back in. Carey was pretty quiet, but he was there. He said stuff.
No, well, I'm backing up what you said because I can't remember a single thing he said.
Yeah, he said a few things, but I almost feel that they were directed accordingly. And that's not how you do it, because I feel Daisy was saying a lot of things almost for the sake of saying it. There was one point where she sort of saying, the ball landed short of Harris Andrews there. He was really caught sort of, not in the choice of going for the mark or going for the ball, leaving it to Bow. Yeah, we saw that. It's a bit forced when they're almost directed to amp it up or pull it back or whatever. I find that quite annoying, and I felt that was the case tonight. And I agree, they should be telling us things we can't see on TV, but how can they do it when they're calling it off the TV?
Well, don't start me on that one. And I'll tell you what, that's the way it's going to remain because they've discovered it's a very effective cost-cutting measure. And,
there's a suggestion that actually Channel 7 created COVID and spread COVID in a cost-cutting measure. But forget the bats. It all came out of Dorcas Street before they pulled it down.
Well, there was some espionage done in the lab in Wuhan, and they saw a bulky mustachioed figure emerging from the lab.
Barge.
Yeah. Luke Hodge is off the light and easy, Robert Forbes says.
He's on the same diet as his old teammate Xavier Ellis.
Oh, did you see? I saw last week. Xavier Ellis has porked up a bit. was it Xavier Clark? Yeah, Xavier Clark's the assistant coach at Richmond.
Yes.
Have you seen his beard? Like, he's got this huge beard. I'm sure that
Yeah,
was
he's
him.
great. Yeah, he's a beauty. He's great, X.
Yeah.
Much loved.
I can't believe this. We spent the whole thing rushing through questions and well, anyway, it's good timing because time has flown tonight and we've got to do the tipping. Yep. So have you got, by the way, everyone who watches this regularly, feel free to send in a device for doing our tips because, you know, Finey's Damien, you sent me a picture of something and I've got no idea what it's about. Oh, 220. Is that what it was? Yeah, right. Okay. Numbers are good tonight. We've still got more than 100. Watch it go down now.
Can I just, I said I've got 2 big black marks from tonight.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, okay. Can you do them quickly?
Yeah, or slowly, whichever you want.
Quick.
Black mark number 1. Where are all the Brisbane supporters tonight? Gold Coast isn't that far from Brisbane. There weren't many at the ground. It was pointed out by Luke Hodge, 80% of them were Richmond supporters, which it certainly came through on the effects mic.
Well,
That's
maybe,
not good enough.
No, but maybe, I mean, there was enormous traffic issues, wasn't there? There was a crash, I think, or something, but...
up in Gold Coast?
Oh, somewhere on that motorway. I mean, there's only one road down there.
Right. I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's why, didn't you know the game was delayed?
Yeah, I didn't know why.
Yeah, no,
I thought it was more COVID. I thought it was totally COVID related. I didn't realise.
No. Okay, what's your other one?
Okay, I have a pet hate in football. I saw it umpiring. I've seen it watching the game. I think the lawmakers don't do enough to stamp it out. And it's the most reckless thing and a cowardly thing a footballer can do. The worst is when a player pushes another player into a pack that's going for a mark. That's just absolutely repugnant. It's also terrible to push a player who's about to pick up the ball into other players who are bent over to pick up the ball. And tonight, Jason Castagna simply pushed Mitch Robinson into, I think it was maybe Shai Bolton. It was another Richmond player. First Shai Bolton, sorry. I'm not 100% sure who the Richmond player was, but first Mitch had to go off and get stitches. You know, he was bleeding. And then the Richmond player had to go off and get stitches. And that's just cowardly by Castagna and as dangerous to your teammate as it is to the opposition. You know, if you can't make the contest, don't push somebody off balance into oncoming players going for the ball. I hate that, and I'll always call it out.
All right, we just did. There was that one where Rewalt got pushed out in the marking contest too. They can be dangerous.
But not pushed. But when you push them into players that don't expect it, boy, that's bad.
Yeah. No, fair point. Yep. Now Suds has got back to us. You mentioned 2 players from the game that you'd put an X through.
No, my two X's, not players, 2 things. I just said them. I also said that I also the 2 players that really disappointed me were Danaher and McInerney.
Do you want me to talk about my 2 X's?
Yeah.
One of them's a bloody psycho.
Okay, let's move on.
I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, it is good.
Do you think that was funny? Who am I talking about, people? All right. Now, Wild Panda's got a great one. We don't have to do with it, but Wild Panda suggests we do our tips via players who played for 2 clubs but not remembered for one club as well as the other. Tip the obscure club.
Not a million miles from tonight's one, but tonight's a bit different.
Well, Damien, can you take a note of that one? So we'll. Anyone else want to send through some tipping devices?
Yeah, I mean, I like that. We'll do that next week. That's good.
Go for it. All right. Wild Panda knows who I'm talking about. All right. Finey, what's our device?
So the problem with the device is that it's sort of the tip is a bit obvious in some of them. And it's, okay, so here's what we're doing.
Right.
The team you're tipping, you have to pick the lesser known brother of 2 brothers who played for the club.
Yeah.
in naming that brother, you're only to give the first name and the initial of the surname. And the other person needs to work out what the surname is and who the famous brother was.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Let's go.
All right. So next game on the agenda after a radically reworked schedule is St Kilda taking on Port Adelaide. That game at Marvel Stadium. Oh, by the way, are we having crowds?
No. Oh, yeah, sure. You can only leave home for 5 reasons.
Oh, yeah.
And one of them isn't to watch St Kilda beat Port.
Yeah, no, sorry, I forgot. Well, situation's so bloody fluid. In fact, we just missed a hotspot because Chadstone.
Yeah, you've got Chadstone.
Yeah, well, Chadstone Wednesday, I think it was 5:30 to 6. And we rolled up very briefly at 6:30 to get some takeaway from Grilled, as a matter of fact. But there's now Grilled's good, great hamburgers. But there's now
Excuse me,
what?
Andrew's hamburgers.
Oh, they're not as good as Andrew's, but you know they're good.
Okay.
All right, no thanks. That was an appropriate reminder. All right, so yeah, St Kilda Port Adelaide, 1:45 Marvel Stadium, no crowd present, of course. What sort of comment is that on my life that like I forgot we're in lockdown, because my life is exactly the same whether we're in lockdown or not. I don't see anyone. I don't go anywhere. I just watch 2,000 games of football. Jimmy Cavalier says, is weak and on the rise, putrid. No idea, Jimmy. What are you talking about? Oh, pushing players into other players, yeah. All right, so I presume you've got one, Finey, have you?
Yeah, Mark G.
Mark Gamble?
No.
Mark Gorozitis?
No.
I already know who you're tipping. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if anyone wants to guess what...
Yeah, you got to try and guess it. So he's the lesser-known brother. 2 brothers played at the club. He's lesser known, and his name is Mark, and his surname begins with G.
All right, well, someone can guess that one. I'll do mine. I'm going for... Oh, Jesus. Robert E.
Robert Elliott.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which means I am tipping St Kilda.
Yeah. If you were going for Port, who would you have gone for?
I
can't remember his first name. There was another Westhoff.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I was going to go for Kay Corns because Chad was the better one.
Okay.
James Tyrrell says Mark Kellett. No, it was Mark G. G for Gorozitis.
No.
Well, I can't think of any St Kilda players G apart from Gorozitis. How many were there? Oh, Leroy Jones got a good one. Daryl C.
Daryl Cunningham.
Yeah.
There's also Anthony H.
Hamill?
No.
James Tyrrell says Mark Jelly.
No, there was a great Jelly didn't have a brother. Come on, people. Should know this.
This is too hard for me.
No, it isn't.
You really...
No, you'll get the others. Anthony H is gettable. His brother's a current AFL coach.
And he played for St Kilda.
Oh, come on. Port Adelaide. Yep, spot on. No. No, Anthony H. Brother of a current AFL coach. After he played at St Kilda, Anthony did go to play many, many years at Port Adelaide in the sand. How many at St Kilda coaches?
Williams.
Pun? Anthony's surname begins with H. Brother, current AFL coach.
Oh, this isn't working.
Why not? Because your brain isn't. Current AFL coach, played for St Kilda. Surname begins with H.
Hardwick?
No, a fairly famous St Kilda footballer.
Dietrich?
Begins with H. Current AFL coach.
I'm going through them alphabetically now. Anthony Harvey.
Correct.
Jesus. Yeah, no, I was slow on that one.
You know,
He
and
played
Mark G.
and he played at Norwood, not Port.
You sure?
Yeah.
Did he? Okay, sorry. And Mark G's brother, I'll give you a clue, was a multiple premiership player.
Not at St Kilda.
Obviously not.
That's funny.
Mark wore number 6 and was much bigger bodied than his brother and only played 4 or 5 games, 3 or 4 games.
So whoever the brother is played at St Kilda and then went somewhere else and played in more than one premiership.
Yep.
Oh, Mark Green.
Correct.
No memory of him at all, but I just
Yeah,
worked
number
out
6. Big, sturdy, bulky guy.
Worked out you meant Russell.
Yeah.
The only man ever to cramp on a football panel show.
Because his son was the fittest player of all time.
Ross Stephen Green.
Yeah.
And Angie Green, his daughter, does some terrific welfare work in the gay community.
In the where?
In the gay community.
Okay.
Angie Green. Yeah, she does a lot of stuff.
Right.
Ross Dahlstrom says, "What did you think of Parker's game, Finey?"
Oh, I like Matthew Parker so much. Started well.
I thought he was good.
Lively. He's such a good bloke, Matthew Parker. I hope he stays there and finds a spot. I really do.
Not going to get it going because he's a good bloke.
No, his problem is that he's sort of in between things. He's in between.
Well, he's got a bit of the Marlon Pickett's about him.
And he's got that background as well too. He's had a rough past and salvation through footy. Good lad.
All right, let's get on with it. Gold Coast play Western Bulldogs at Metricon Stadium. That game 4:35. That remains unchanged.
Okay.
I'm going to go first this time. And God, it was coming to me. I can
Did it
see
just leave you?
No, I can see him. Hang on. Brian F.
Oh, that's a good one. Brian F.
I hope I haven't made him up. I'm sure I've got to
But
check.
no Brian Ford.
Yeah. There isn't?
No, you're thinking of Brian Cordy.
Oh, you just got my other one. Okay. No, I've got another one. John R.
Okay, that's a good one. John R. Reid. John Reid.
Yep.
You're going for the Bulldogs.
Brother of.
Bruce Reid.
Yep. Who went on to play for Carlton, of course.
And John Reid.
South Melbourne.
Yeah, but I don't know if they're related. Yeah, I know that.
No, they're brothers, weren't they?
Yeah, maybe. I'm going for Paul A.
Atkins.
Well done. See, not so hard.
Um,
I'm going for the Doggies.
Harper has gone for Ace C.
Excellent. See, Ace Cordy. That's a beauty.
And Matthew Price has gone for Kelvin M.
Kelvin M.
That's the next game, Matthew. Wait until we read it out, will you?
Oh, Kelvin Matthews.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay,
no,
next
I
game.
would have gone with that. All right. So we're both going for the Bulldogs. Next game, Melbourne Hawthorn at the MCG at
This is interesting.
7:25 p.m. Okay. I'm going for Tom F.
Tom Flower.
Yeah, that was easy.
I knew that was a real chance. I'm going for Mark A.
Oh,
Very good to me, Marks.
Mark A.
Yep.
Can you give me an era?
70s. Brother was a champion.
Mark Alves.
Correct.
Never heard
Well
of
done.
him. Never heard of him.
Yeah, no, he played for Melbourne, Mark Ellis.
All right, so we're both going for Melbourne. Some other suggestions coming through. So Matthew Price went Kelvin M. Robert Rice has gone JV. A couple of Tom Fs. Jeff A, says Matthew.
Jeff A.
Tablet.
Yep.
Could have been Kevin A.
Kevin A, yep.
Oscar M.
Oscar McDonald.
Yeah, that's a particularly good suggestion from someone well known to this program.
Well, you're not going to say who?
The guy sitting above me in the frame.
Damon.
Yeah. Damon can't help himself. It's like he gets bored, so he starts playing the game as well. Better than fucking...
Oh, Rowan! How about that father?
No one heard that. No one heard that.
Hang on, how about the dad with the kids watching?
Oh, God, sorry. I'm really sorry.
Oh, Rowan.
That is the first time I've ever inadvertently sworn on here.
It was so natural.
And all because I was going to say better than Supercoach. So I was hoping there was no one still watching, but we've still got over 100 viewers. Damn. All right. I can see that one ending up as a meme. Anyway, Tim Hooper's gone for Alan J. No, they've got to play for the same. They've got to play for the same club, Tim.
Yep.
Give it the program, Tim. Leroy's gone for Brian S.
Brian Steins, very good.
Oh, yeah, very good. Very good.
Excellent.
Matthew's shocked and offended. He's never watching again. All right, so we're both tipping Melbourne. Let's move on with it before I disgrace myself again.
Yeah.
North Melbourne taking on Essendon at Metricon Stadium. 12:35, that game. What are they doing with these start times on Sunday? Rightio, I am going for Larry W.
Larry Watson.
Yeah.
I'd love to get one that you don't know. I'm going for Barry B.
Bazanko.
Oh, bastard.
I
thought I could get
I remember him.
I mean, his brother was mainly a St Kilda player.
Neil Bazanko. But Neil played some decent footy for us, and Barry struggled to get a game. You know the thing about Barry? Like, he was really, really quick.
Yeah.
But he was too quick. One day at Collingwood, he took off around the wing with the ball, and he left the ball behind him. He had to run back and go and get it. He went to bounce it, and it sort of bounced over his shoulder, and he turned around and ran back and picked it up.
I mean, Neil Basenko's nickname was the racehorse.
He was a shocking kick of the footy.
Yeah. He was nicknamed the racehorse. Holds special pride of place in my heart because I've got a huge collection of St Kilda football cards. And he's the player who's played most games that never had a card in any format for St Kilda. So there's no Neil Basenko card, which is a pity. His uncle, they're also big in cycling, the Basenkos, and his uncle is still a racehorse trainer.
Oh, really? It always sounded to me like he should have been like an American sort of crooner or something, like Neil Sedaka.
Neil Basenko. It's a great name, Basenko.
Bazanko, you're beauty. Hey, by the way, that reminds me. I don't know why they've done it now. Maybe because of condolences, of course, to the Silvani family on the passing of the great Surge. But this, I tell you what, I saw. I'm really looking forward to watching it. Bruce Doull, the man who never speaks, has basically, it's the only long form interview he's ever done. He did it with Tony DeBolfo, Carlton historian, well known to us. And he did it back in 2012. And I'm not sure why I need to ask him, but I don't think they've ever released it. And so they've released it now. And there's a link on Twitter, I think, that Beast has put out. And I clicked on it and had a look at the interview. And I just sort of zipped through a few. And there's Bruce Doull talking really articulately about his teammates and David Parkin. And it's amazing. It's like watching Marcel Marceau talk, you know.
Yeah, so it's famous, that interview. At one point, Tony DeBolfo goes, "For God's sake, Bruce, shut up. Let me get a word."
Perfect choice to interview him. All right, so we're both going for Essendon to beat North Melbourne.
Yep.
Next game is it's the no matter where they are on the ladder cup final, except this time it does matter because they both suck.
Okay.
We are talking, of course, about Collingwood Carlton, the big clash of 15th versus 13th.
Yep.
And that is at the... hey, Damien, can you just subtly tell me how many people are still watching? Because my numbers have been exactly the same. Oh, thank God. Yeah, I thought we had twice that many. So no one heard me drop the magic. Oh, do we?
And
I drove half of them away. Collingwood Carlton, 3:20 Sunday afternoon.
Yep.
Okay. No, it's your turn to go first.
Scott S.
Scott Spalding.
Oh, gee, that's a good get.
Well, not really.
No, he played one game or two games.
Oh, did he? You could have.
He didn't play many. He was more cricket, wasn't he, Scott?
We've got some more suggestions coming through on this one. Anthony Williams gone, the obvious one. David Kay.
Carnarvon.
Yeah. What about what was John Nichols' brother called?
Don.
Yeah, D Nichols. Don N. Sorry, I stuff that.
Yeah, that would have been good.
All right. Well, I am going for. I want to come up with a good one.
See, you like this one. This has gone well.
It's growing on me.
I don't even know who you're tipping in this, so it's a bit of a tricky one for me to.
Yeah, well, that's why I want to make it good.
Okay.
Hang on, what was that, Damon? What do you mean in the chat? Oh, I see what you mean. Oh, yeah, well, it's obvious because you say the first name and there's not a lot of other ones. Yeah, Damon's got a good one for this.
Yeah.
Matthew Price, just while we're waiting, Finey, you can answer this one. Matthew Price wants to know what our verdict is on coriander, yay or nay. I love coriander.
Oh, yeah. I'll tell you, not only do I love it, I remember the first time I ever had it. It was the first time I had... Well, it was the first time I had Vietnamese in Melbourne.
Yeah.
And it was the first Vietnamese restaurant almost. And it was up, you had to go up some stairs in a arcade in the city.
Not in Richmond.
No, it was in the city. Richmond was long way off being Vietnamese. It was actually next to a Gopal restaurant, the Hare Krishna restaurant. And I had a bowl of their noodle and beef soup, the pho, and it had coriander in it, and I'd never tasted it before, and I loved it. And I've loved it ever since. You know, it's as good as cilantro, coriander.
No, I'm not playing that game where I now go, what's cilantro? I'm going to pretend I know what it is.
It's what they call coriander in America and Mexico.
Very good. Of course, because of that, I wasn't able to think of anyone. I better hurry up.
What was Damon's?
Asaki O.
Asaki Og. Asaki O'Halpin.
Correct.
But the third brother never played Og.
Og O'Halpin.
Yeah. Og O'Halpin.
The big double O. I don't think you pronounce it Og, do you?
I told you, there's only two players in the history of the game to have the initials OO, and they both played for St Kilda.
Yeah, you did tell us that.
Ozzy O'Connell and Otto O'Pelt.
Oh, come on. Look, at this stage, I'm going to have to just go Max R.
Max
Yeah.
Richardson.
Yeah, surely.
He was pretty good to be a lesser brother.
Well, Wayne was a better player, wasn't he?
How about Neville S?
Neville Shaw.
Yeah.
Yeah, could have gone with that. Yeah. Or
Not Neville Shoot.
in fact, he could have gone with Ray S, because I think as good as Ray was, Tony ended up being the more accomplished player. He's unfollowed me on Twitter, Shorey.
Why?
I think politics. Do you know Paul DiMartino has announced his intention to run for the Liberal Party?
Yeah.
That'll be interesting. Because he's up against Martin Foley in Albert Park, if he runs. Stephen Glasgow, says Hayden Murdoch.
No, he's thinking of Stuart Glasgow, and he played for the Brisbane Bears.
And he was David's brother, was he?
Yeah. He was one of the worst footballers I've ever seen.
Speaking about raving Tories, David Glasgow is from memory.
Yeah, he played with Peter Worsfold, John Worsfold's brother.
Oh, yeah. See, if we were tipping Brisbane tonight, could have gone with that. Oh, no, because
they didn't play together.
All right, next game. I nearly did it again.
Brisbane, you could go on Brett V.
Adelaide playing West Coast, 4:40 p.m. on Sunday at Adelaide Oval.
Yep.
Yeah, I've got it. See, I don't like to, I want to make it. I want to keep it moving. I'm going for Wally M.
Wally Matera.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going for Philip M.
Philip Matera.
Yeah.
They are all brothers, aren't they?
Yeah.
Wally was, they were brothers.
You know what Pip used to do every time he got a goal?
Phil Matera.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't remember.
When he kicked a goal, remember what he used to do?
No. Oh, did he?
He always did
not a bad player for the
after he kicked it, little bit of goal umpire.
Rex Hunt did that at Moorabbin one day playing for the Saints.
Well, he actually stood where the goal umpire was.
Yeah. Harper's gone for Jessica A. Is that a joke, Harper?
No, maybe there's brothers. So I had a look at the upcoming AFLW draft.
No. We haven't finished this, Finey.
What? There's another game?
Yes.
After West Coast Adelaide?
Yeah.
Where's that popped up?
Well, it's an 18-team competition, you see, and there's 9 games a week. It is at 6:10 p.m. on Sunday. It's GWS playing Sydney.
Oh, that's been moved. That's been moved.
That's been moved from I think that was Saturday. Oh, who cares? Unfortunately, University against Fitzroy's had to be postponed. So GWS are playing Sydney at Metricon Stadium at 6:10 p.m. on Sunday. So I am going for... there's a few choices here, isn't there? Yeah, I'm going to go for Paul M.
Paul Morwood?
Correct.
I'm going for Michael W.
I was going to say Wayne and Dennis Carroll, but they were
They're not
cousins.
brothers.
Were they cousins, though?
Yeah, I think so.
Sorry, who was that again?
Michael W.
Witzel?
No, that's Mark Witzel.
Oh, yeah. Do you have a brother?
No, I don't know. Ask him.
Michael W.
See, I could have gone for a couple of Qs, but that would have been a bit obvious.
So, hang on, you're going with Michael W.
Yeah. I had a famous incident with this player on the ground before a practice match.
Michael Wright.
Correct. So South Melbourne were playing St Kilda at Moorabbin.
Yeah.
Now, Michael Wright, 6'3", black curly hair, brother of Stevie Wright, 5'7", red hair.
Yeah.
And, you used to be allowed on the ground, you have a kick after whatever.
This is going to have something to do with parentage, isn't it?
Correct. And as they ran on the ground, I ran up to Michael Wright and I said, don't you think it's about time you told little Stevie that you've got a different father? And he had a swing at me.
How old were you?
As they ran on the ground, I ran up to him. I was having a kick, we were having a kick at Moorabbin. It was a practice match. And I ran right up to him. And first of all, he sort of backpedaled, like, why are you running towards me? I said, don't you think it's about time you told little Stevie you've got different dads?
How old were you?
14 or something, 13 or 14. I remember he said smart, or I won't say what he said. And he didn't find it funny at all. I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, I wonder why. All right, we're done. As Harper was talking about Jessica and Sarah Allen, actually Jess might have been cut. He says Michael Wright, the Danahers, of course, Brandon Jack.
Yeah, that's good. How about Ricky O'Loughlin?
He played
for Adelaide, maybe.
Yeah. Brandon Jack, good friend of the show. Matthew says, thanks again. Another great episode. Genuine and authentic. Proud to be a Patreon subscriber. This is what footy media should be. Thanks, Matthew. And I always forget until right now when no one's watching that if you are enjoying this show and you think it's worth, putting your hand in your kick and putting in a little bit each month, you can become an official Footyology patron for $7 Australian a month. Damon's just put the link up there. And look, we're not trying to make a killing. We're just trying to keep the operation going. Or Steve, feed our starving children, as the tag on the podcast says. Rich Davies signing up now. Thanks, Rich. Appreciate it.
Rowan, before we go,
hang on. Say good day to Jane for me, Rich.
Yeah, thanks. Can you answer me a question, or Damon answer me, because it's annoying me?
Okay, probably best if I do, seeing no one else will hear Damon say it.
What was the name of Ricky Quade's brother, or did he have two brothers who played league footy?
I don't remember a brother of Ricky Quade.
At least one, maybe two.
All right.
And definitely not Dennis Quaid. He was an actor.
I was going to say Dennis.
Something says like Tom Quaid or something, but...
Well, Damon's going to look it up now while I keep going with the very important plug.
Yep.
So seriously, we rely on the Patreon income to pay people to write. So your subscription, $7 Australian per month, would be much appreciated. Seriously, I really mean that. So get on board.
Yeah, is it Tom Quaid and my two brothers? Yeah, all brothers. So Ricky had two brothers, Rowan, Tom Quaid, so I was right, and Mick Quaid, Michael Quaid. And
Eric Ellis, another good friend of the show and a former Sun News pictorial colleague of mine, came through with Tom. G'day, Eric. Yeah. And by the way, you just reminded me, sorry, this is a bit indulgent, but if I didn't respond to your last email, I meant to say, yes, I would love that piece if you want to write it, whenever you write it, because Eric is a foreign correspondent, has been for many years, and has worked in a variety of exotic locations. And indeed, one of those sojourn he completed during one of those overseas expeditions was to nowhere else but North Korea.
I'd love to meet somebody who's been to North Korea.
Well, he's got a great story about that, which actually is quite a famous story. Sorted. Great. Thanks, mate. Saved me doing the email. All right, we're going to wrap it up there. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you
just quickly, Rowan.
Yes.
What was unusual about, Tom Hawkins' dad jumping Jack Hawkins?
Yeah, the one that BT said kicked 6 goals tonight.
Yeah, that's right. He had two brothers who played league football.
Oh, yeah, I do remember one of them.
One of them was Rob Hawkins. What was unusual about Rob Hawkins?
Don't know.
I don't know why he spelled his name R-O-B-B.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
Rob.
Yep, and who was the other one?
No, I'm not sure. But I think one of the brothers, either Rob or the other brother, made his debut that famous day that Williams, Mark Jackson, Ablett all debuted for Geelong.
84.
Round one, yeah.
Hawkins did.
One of the brothers made his debut because there was a famous article in the Advertiser, this is 100% true, saying the Geelong are unveiling 5 new players today, the most exciting of which is Jack Hawkins' younger brother.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, not counting for Williams, Gary Ablett, or Gary Ablett.
Who was the third one?
Well, Mark Jackson also made his debut.
Oh,
but it was...
Yeah, Jacko was that day as well. Okay.
But it was really funny that the article said, 5 new players expected to line up, and the headline act is this guy Hawkins, who played 2 or 3 games.
Well, 8 games later, Gary Ablett was playing for Victoria.
It's funny.
And kicked 5 or 6 from a win in Perth.
Yeah.
I remember that, actually. I remember that state game, and I was actually speaking about the Sun. I was in the Sun office because it was a Tuesday afternoon, and we're watching it on the TV, and literally half the people watching, like sports journos and whatever, are standing there going, who's this bloke? He's bloody unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's the first time I've seen Gary Ablett. Anyway, enough. We've been on way too long. Thanks for watching, everyone. Podcast will be back Sunday evening to review all of round 18, and we'll be back here next Friday night when the big game is, at this stage, it's Port Adelaide versus Collingwood.
Can I say one last thing?
What would happen if I said no?
No, it's just about Hawkins, about Ablett, because it's a funny story.
I've just done all the sign off. Like, is there a vague possibility we could sort of get that done and then I sign off like any normal program, or?
No. Well, you swore, so this program ain't normal.
Right.
So, quite interestingly, I pointed out to Kevin Bartlett, I said to Kevin Bartlett, how many times did you play against Gary Ablett? And he said, no, I was finished by the time Gary Ablett started. And I said, not true, mate. You did play against him once, and I've seen the footage. He didn't realise he played against him in a Richmond Hawthorn game.
At Princess Park, and Gary kicked 3, I think.
Yeah, he didn't know. I had to tell him that he played against him.
We did play 400 games. Like, you can't remember them all in vivid detail.
Oh, he's pretty good.
That is a good story. Oh, Dion Stannard has signed up. Thanks, mate.
Thank you very much.
Really, no, and I'm not being facetious here. Like, we really do appreciate it. And look, put other people onto the site. Tell them about the website. Tell them about the podcast. It all helps. Yep. Something else, Finey. Yep. Go on.
Can I ask you for a favour? Read the website.
Yeah, you couldn't do it like off air.
No, because then I'd like people to have a look at it. A couple of my articles are behind paywalls, and I think they're the only ones that are.
Okay, yeah, no, I'll take them. In fact, send me a text now.
Yep, I will.
While I sign off, and I'll do it straight away.
Yeah, that'd be great.
All right, I will do that.
Somebody was interested in my movie, 50 movies, and couldn't read them all.
Well, you could have said to them, if you cough up $7, you can.
Okay.
Like, it didn't occur to you.
Oh, it was my son. I'll pay for him.
Yeah, well, he can bloody cough it. No, I'll take him behind the paywall. All right. But look, that will be a last result. If we can't get enough money to sustain it, things will have to go behind the paywall. But, if we get enough people prepared to acknowledge some decent quality stuff and kick in, we won't have to do that. So hopefully that's what we can do. Anyway, we're done here. Have a good weekend, everyone, and we'll see you next Friday night.